Is AI starting to get on the presidential agenda? Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the AI Daily news you need in around 5 minutes. We kick off today with some comments from former President Donald Trump, who is of course also running for president right now. He recently appeared on the All-In podcast, part of a courting of the technology industry that he's doing in his campaign right now, and spent a bit of time talking about artificial intelligence as it relates to energy. Let's quickly listen to this 1-minute clip.
We have a phenomena coming up right now, and I was talking about it the other day to David, and that's AI. A little thing, simple, two little simple letters, but it's big. And I realized the other day, more than anything, when we were at David's house and talking to a lot of geniuses from Silicon Valley and other places, they need electricity at levels that nobody's ever experienced before to be successful, to be a leader in AI. The amount of electricity that is like double what we have right now and even triple what we have right now. It's incredible how much they need to be the leader. And we're going to have to be able to do that. And a windmill turning with its blade, knocking out the birds and everything else is not going to be able to make us competitive. You'll have China.
What about nuclear, Mr. President? Yeah. So let me just give you a statistic on this.
Nuclear is
China's
okay.
building.
So what's interesting to me about this is not only that, like him or loathe him, when Trump speaks, it does set the tone of the conversation to come, but more that we're not just seeing a superficial surface level conversation around AI competitiveness and AI as it relates to a global geostrategic battle with China, but this specific awareness of the relationship between AI and energy. This is something that Sam Altman has talked about a lot before as well, when he's been asked about whether he's concerned about the environmental impact of artificial intelligence. He's basically said that we're going to have to innovate new energy solutions for the sake of AI because we simply can't get enough with what we have. I'll be watching closely to see if AI starts appearing in this type of political discourse more. But for now, speaking of the government and AI, also in a recent interview, OpenAI's Mira Murati said that they give the government early access to new AI models.
How do you minimize risk?
Right.
And providing people the tools to do that. And in the case of government, for example, it's very important to bring them along and give them early access to things, educate them.
As you'll hear more in the main episode today, as part of its announcement of its new model Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Anthropic shared more details about how they gave access to the UK AI Safety Institute. So again, maybe a bit of a shifting of the tide in terms of how these frontier labs think about their relationship with the government, even in advance of any sort of comprehensive legislation. Next up today, we've got a set of different funding announcements. HeyGen, the video avatar and visual storytelling company, has announced a $60 million Series A. They write that in just over a year, they've grown from $1 million in ARR to over $35 million and have been profitable since Q2 of last year. What's more, they say more than 40,000 companies are currently using the tools. These numbers are pretty impressive to me, especially from the standpoint that we're only just beginning to scratch the surface on avatar use cases in the workplace. I happen to think that this is going to be an incredibly rich area of experimentation where we're going to see everything from company onboarding to change sales processes, and 60 million more in the war chest will definitely give HeyGen the ability to compete at the front of that pack. Another French company has also raised a big round. Poolside is, according to TechCrunch, raising $400 million at a $2 billion valuation. This is not yet an announced deal. TechCrunch writes that Bain Capital Ventures and DST are in talks to co-lead the round, with BCV being a previous investor and DST being a new investor. You might remember this company from when they raised a $126 million seed round last year. Poolside is focused on using AI to accelerate and augment human software developers. TechCrunch points out that not only is France pumping out some very high-profile AI companies, not one but two others have also raised 9-figure seed rounds. Mistral raised $113 million, and H raised $220 million. TechCrunch writes the City of Light might need to be renamed the City of AI at this rate. AI language tutor Speak announced that it had reached a $500 million valuation, raising $20 million in a Series B3 financing. The company writes, Speak's AI language tutor builds a path towards spoken fluency without reliance on human conversation. Users gain fluency by learning speaking patterns and practicing repetition in crafted lessons, rather than memorizing vocabulary and grammar. An impressive statistic from this press release, learners speak 1,000 times on average in their first week. Finally today, on the other end of the financing spectrum, The Information reports that chip company Cerebrus has quietly filed for an IPO. The Information writes, the IPO plans show the 8-year-old company wants to ride a wave of investor enthusiasm over AI hardware sales that have made NVIDIA the world's most valuable company and boosted scores of other stocks. The startup's financial results couldn't be learned. It said in a blog post in December that it had recently reached cash flow break-even without elaborating. Still, the Information writes that a new share authorization suggests Cerebrus is valuing itself at around $2.5 billion. So friends, that is the news from here, and that's going to do it for today's headlines. Next up, the main episode.